Hello everybody, my name is Daniel. Thanks for joining me. Today I'd like to show you this recent sketchbook of mine. Well, I say recent, I completed it last winter, but enough time has passed so that I feel comfortable showing it right now. This was a weird book. I actually completed it in two phases. I drew in it in 2018 and then lost it for several months and then came back to it much later. I always start with a mess. Messiness helps me relax, helps me own the page and not be intimidated by it. I'd also recently bought this photo printer so I could print out these small stickers. Always label your sketchbooks. I don't want to publish my telephone number here, but I always label them. I bought this sketchbook in Helsinki on a trip there and started it in a cafe. Also bought these nice pens that I was using at the time. Self-portraits I keep coming back to. A quote from Frida Kahlo: "I paint self-portraits because I am so often alone, because I am the person I know best, or I am the subject I know best." I'm the model who's always around, so it's easy to draw self-portraits. I'd like to mention this book, The Diary of Frida Kahlo. This was fantastically inspiring for me at the time, and still is. It has facsimiles of Frida Kahlo's journals or diaries, these wonderful, colorful, messy, vibrant books overflowing with life and vitality and creativity. It does have the translations into English at the back with some notes there as well, which is fantastic because I don't speak Spanish, but I was really inspired by this book and of the freedom and the messiness of it, of the sort of unrelenting creativity I found in this. And while we're at it, I'll mention these two other books as well. Gregory is someone I discovered around this time, and I first read his memoir, Everyday Matters, which is a graphic memoir, not really a graphic novel, but a book of drawings and journal entries and memories. Very touching, heartbreaking even, and wonderfully inspiring, especially the way Danny describes the way he started out drawing and the meaning it started having in his life, and maybe I dare to say the way art changed his life, or I don't want to speak for him. And another book by Danny Gregory, The Creative License. I was working through this book at the time. It's kind of a workbook or a drawing method or something like that, of exercises and Danny's thoughts on drawing and journaling, visual journaling, graphic journaling, whatever you want to call it. And this was wonderfully inspiring, and I think the biggest take from this book was, and from Danny's other work, is the idea of drawing without talent. I used to think that drawing was just for talented people, and since I never felt I had the talent, it was something I couldn't do and shouldn't do. But the idea of discovering the freedom and joy of drawing, and the idea of drawing being a skill that I can learn, and just drawing every day and everyday things, like a scene at the office, just a quick sketch of what I see, or I'm waiting for the bus at the bus stop and I draw the church next to the bus stop, or I'm in the cinema and I, while I'm waiting for the movie to start, I sketch what's in front of me. Not a day without a line, this idea of drawing every day, and enjoying the process of it. And the idea of freedom and safety. In a sketchbook, you're free to draw anything, or try to draw anything, or work on anything, and you're absolutely safe. Nothing can go wrong, or if something does go wrong, it doesn't really matter. It's just a sketchbook. You don't have to show it to anyone, unless you want to show it to strangers on YouTube, obviously. Welcome to middle age. Breakfast is paracetamol. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Drawing dogs is difficult, so a couple of hits and a miss. And I started drawing people on the bus while commuting, and drawing people, the backs of people's heads, which is something I still do. Focus on progress, not perfection. I love that quote. It's about the process. Done is better than perfect. And sometimes it isn't excellent when I'm, this was like 2 years ago, and I'm slightly embarrassed looking at these, and at the same time, I'm really not. I'm really happy about the process. Maybe not, the end result isn't always excellent, but just seeing things in my neighborhood and drawing them. Or I drew the Superman logo first from memory, and then looked at one and drew it. A funny memory from my childhood. When I was a kid, I didn't see the S in the logo. I just saw these random shapes in it, and I thought it was a really strange but strangely beautiful logo for my favorite superhero at the time. The next pages were filled in a camp I was working in, a confirmation camp, drawing coffee cups always, spilling coffee on the page and then drawing. And I think these were the first kind of fast brush pen drawings I started to learn. You only have a few seconds to draw someone who's moving and doing something, and you can't fix it later. Sometimes it's just an ugly blob there, but it doesn't really matter, because it's about learning. It's about the process and enjoying that. Sometimes the end result isn't excellent, and sometimes it works out better. And seeing things. I remember looking at this coffee cup with the light coming from the side, and the really beautiful thing that it did with the shadows, and looking at that, and just I couldn't wait to take out my sketchbook and drawing that. And these kind of pages are frustrating when something kind of turns out nicely. I'm pretty happy with the way that guy turned out, and then making a complete mess in the background and trying to fix it with watercolor, which doesn't ever work. But or drawing while sitting in the car. Someone's driving and I'm drawing. Or at the bus stop again. Or in the bus. Or self-portraits, since I'm always around. It's easy to find a live model when you have a mirror. Or coffee cups. This is something I keep coming back to. Or just making a mess and pasting stickers there. Or being on the beach and having some coffee there and just spilling it on the page. It's easier to fill a canvas than to get to the easel, from Gregory again. Oh yeah, it is. It's once you get started, it gets easier. Getting started and keeping the process moving, that's the difficult part, at least for me. Another camp I was working in, a base camp we had, a colleague of mine, and some notes from the talk he was giving. Some drawings turn out better than others. This sketchbook was always falling apart, and I was always trying to stick it together. I'm secure. Actually, I'm really insecure, but a sketchbook is a wonderful place to learn security and safety. And again, just things I see almost every day, people I see almost every day. This is the shot tower in my neighborhood in Bispala. I later made a bigger painting of it as well. Or drawing what you're using to draw. A fountain pen, a mechanical pencil, your watercolors. Or just sticking random things in the book. Not a day without a line. Don't walk past open doors. Or actually, maybe you should walk past some open doors. I don't know. But drawing, painting on the bus or at the bus stop, it's difficult to find time to draw when you have a busy schedule. But this drawing probably took like 45 seconds or a minute, and it's worth it. It's worth keeping the ball rolling by spending a few minutes with a pen and paper. I often use my sketchbooks for random notes as well, or just making a mess, just sticking. I bought some new watercolors and stuck them, or took some photos and took a photo from the same place I drew earlier. I often draw my breakfast, or when I'm sitting in a cafe, or quotes. My secret is making the wrong choices and committing to them, something Jim Carrey said in an interview. Or Bible quotation from 1 Corinthians, knowledge makes you proud, but love builds you up. I rarely draw in pencil, but again, something I see. I saw this glass bottle and saw some lights and shadows on it and wanted to put down what I saw, or just really quickly on a bus. And here's a thought, very much in the vein of Danny Gregory, maybe not from him, but why is it that anyone can drive a car, but drawing is just for the talented? I don't have any talent for driving, and still I've just learned to drive, which is kind of upside down. If I mess things up when I'm driving, worst case scenario is someone dies. But if I mess things up when I'm drawing, the worst thing that can happen is that there are some ugly marks on the page. Bless the Lord, O my soul. And just again making a mess, writing. I love sticking things in my sketchbook, especially when I'm stuck, when I'm in a rut and feeling uninspired. Just make a mess. Just get something on the page and it moves you forward. Or Obama was visiting Helsinki that autumn, so I saw him in a newspaper and drew him. Or again, self-portraits. Again, coffee stains and notes were something I did Inktober that year. So I actually did that in another sketchbook, but made some notes here. Messy pages. Messy pages with coffee spilt on them, and we're making notes for something work related there. And at this point, at the end of 2018, I put this book away for many months, probably nine months or something. And then the next summer I took a trip to Stockholm and wanted a sketchbook with me. I didn't end up drawing much there, but I got started again. How about looking into typography was something I thought about, but haven't got around to it yet. I've never learned calligraphy, so writing quotes is something that maybe I should look into that. And something completely different, not painting what I see, but rather what I feel. This is something I do when I'm painting a lot, and this is something I've done since I was a teenager, but only in recent years I've started to learn to draw what I see. Coffee and contemplation. What a wonderful phrase from first episode of Stranger Things. Mornings are for coffee and contemplation. Bus rides are for drawing. I sometimes let my kids draw in my sketchbooks as well, or make notes from other things. Oh yeah, this was interesting. My username is Psyche Art, or Psy Heart, whichever way you want to look at it, and a play on words. The Greek word psyche, usually translated soul, it has the element of psyche, certainly, and at the same time the idea of a heart. So this is a monogram of psyche with psi and chi there, so kind of reads Psyche, a play on the Christ monogram, obviously, of having the key and then the rho spelling out Christos. But this Psyche and then adding a heart there, having both the Psyche and the heart and art there. Apparently it took a break for 2 months there again, a break from this sketchbook. I'm really inconsistent in the way I use sketchbooks. I have several sketchbooks going on at the same time, different sizes, different themes, different papers, and then I forget about drawing for days or even weeks at a time and make music or paint or something else. I wanted to come back to Selfie Till You Drop, to making self-portraits. I didn't actually end up making that many. Another quote from the book: "As soon as you point your way towards the horizon, life becomes meaningful. A wonderful memoir, 1,000,000 miles in 1,000 years." Oh, that turned out nicely, that coffee cup. And a Hitchcock portrait from the photograph. And again, kind of a throwback to what I drew a year and a half before, waiting in the cinema. Simple drawings of cars, buildings, and people. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Drawing just everyday simple things. And that changes the way I see the world. I took an online class on portraits. I used another sketchbook for it, but one of them wound up here as well for some reason. And to finish off with this thought and a self-portrait, art itself is painting a self-portrait of the world, and every mark we make is participating in this work. I think art is about seeing the world in a certain way, or seeing certain things, seeing beauty, or seeing creation and taking part in that. It's a very grandiose idea, I know, but there is art is grand. Art is a great thing, and the idea of my little marks and my messy pages as participating in this great work is a wonderfully inspiring idea. Sometimes the pages are messy, sometimes they don't turn out the way I like, and I like my drawings a lot more afterwards. Now that some time has passed, I'm pretty happy when I look through it. Not because the paintings or the drawings are excellent, but because I've done something, because I've moved forward, because I've made the effort and walked a few miles. And so anyway, that was that sketchbook. Thanks for watching, and see you again.